Beautiful Sunday to you, August 16th. What a phenomenal day. Just relaxed yesterday at the house. My neighbor, his name is Greg Mead, and they were in a band called the Mead Brothers Band. And if you're familiar with Long Island, one of the major bands on Long Island was the Mead Brothers in 80 to 86, even a little earlier than that. And they played at the legendary Bordy Barn in Southampton, where, if you've ever been to the Bordy Barn, giant fucking bar and a tent. And then what you do at the Bordy Barn is you pack about 1,000 fucking people in the place. And you just get absolutely wasted. So the Mead Brothers in the 80s played at the Bordy Barn and tore it apart. And they were one of the epic bands that played there in the 80s. Now also, my neighbor was in a band called Gary U.S. Bonds. Now, if you remember Gary U.S. Bonds, they had a big hit called This Little Girl Is Mine in the 80s, and they were the undercard when Bruce had his tour in the 80s, and they were the warm-up band. So my neighbor toured with Bruce, and if you walk into his house, it's the greatest picture ever. You got Greg, you got Bruce Springsteen, and you got Stevie Van Zandt on his wall. And that was at Stevie Van Zandt's wedding, where my neighbor played with Bruce and Stevie at his wedding. So it's very, very cool. So point of this being, every year, what they do is they get together, and it's an annual event called Meadstock. And everybody gets together and jams out that's ever been in the band. So you have your core band, where there's 3 brothers from the Meads that played in the band. And I think only 2 play now, the lead singer and guitarist. And then you have other people that have played in the band over, let's say, the last 30 years. Now, certain times they still do weddings even to this day. They're in their 60s, but they sound phenomenal. And they really play your 70s music and 70s and 80s, and then they could do any sort of cover. But they could do anything. They could do something from Van Halen, and then they go to Steely Dan, and then they go soup to nuts all the way down the line. But, you know, their core music is your Beatles, is your Neil Young, of course, your Stills Nash, all that type of music, and then everything in the 60s and the 70s that they really, really like. But just a phenomenal time jamming out. They start at 4, they go until 11, and it was a humid day yesterday, so everybody's pretty much soaking wet, but a lot of fun. And we had a tiny gathering at the house, just a couple of people, and then we walk right from our house into their backyard and they jam out. But as you know, nothing just invigorates you and gets you hopping more than a live band. Whether you're dancing, whether you're just listening, whether you're partying, whether you got a burger, but a live band really brings it together. So coming off a phenomenal night on a beautiful Saturday in August, and it brings us to today. And if you look at the card today, obviously you only have 1 game in the NFL in the preseason, and it should be a really, really good game. And this easily could be, if things fall right for both of these teams, a Super Bowl preview. Now, obviously, the Eagles have to get past probably the 2 best teams in the NFL, which would be the Seahawks and the Packers. But the Eagles are loaded, and they're ready to make a run. And with all the off-season drama and constant drama coming out of the Eagles camp, it'll be nice to see today what they put on the field. And they're going to play this game for real. So the Eagles really want to have a big showing today. And truth be told, Indianapolis is only putting half of their heart into it today. So you have a preseason situation where you have one team that's really going for it, which will be the Eagles, and a cult team which is picked to be the odds-on favorite to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, you know, traveling into Philly, and they're going to go half speed. So does a team going full speed beat a team going half speed? Well, you don't know, because in the 3rd and 4th quarter, we'll see what happens. But I love this game. I really do. I feel I got a pulse on this game, and on the website, I'm going to sell the game as my preseason game of the year. So the Eagles are a 4-point favorite over the Indianapolis Colts. I'm selling this as my preseason game of the year. I'm not going to charge a lot of money for the game. Just normal pricing, cheap pricing. You can get it right now at StuFeiner.com. Then we have a full slate of baseball, and baseball's just unbelievable here. And as I told you yesterday, Tanaka had the edge. The Yankees had the edge in the pitching. And how great was I? You know, I predicted that. I pontificated that. It was perfect as Tanaka goes 9. Now, normally you do not see any pitchers go 9, but Tanaka showed you he is a true number 1, a true ace, and the Yankees win again in Toronto. So now the Yankees have a 1.5 game lead over Toronto, playing today to go up either 2.5 or at least leave Toronto in first place, which they can't complain about. Taking 2 or 3 in Toronto would be phenomenal. A clean sweep of the Blue Jays would be absolutely epic. And it looks like the Blue Jays again are going into their normal choke mode. Now, you don't know if they're going to choke yet. They were the hottest team in baseball. And then the Yankees just cooled them down with just great pitching. Phenomenal pitching, as good as pitching as you can get. And again, Carlos Beltran. Carlos, it looks like it's October already the way you're hitting, but Beltran's on fire, hitting another homer, hitting a double off the wall, could have been easily 2 homers, and you can't get him out. And when Beltran gets into type of groove like this, he can carry the entire team. Teixeira went yard. So, Yankees all well in the world with the world champion New York Yankees, again in first place. Mets are struggling right now, but as we spoke about yesterday, the Mets are not going to beat the elite teams without their elite pitchers, okay? When you throw Bartolo Colon, when you throw Jonathan Neese, although they're serviceable, and although they can go on runs and shut teams down, you're not going to beat the Pirates. Now, again, the game went 14 innings, and the Pirates eventually wore them down. Mets had some chances to win the game, no two ways about it. But the Pirates are better. Overall, they're better. I mean, you don't have Matt Harvey on the mound. You don't have DeGrom on the mound. You don't have Syndergaard at home on the mound. The Mets are an average ball club, can be beat by anybody. But again, today they put their ace on the mound, Matt Harvey, and let's see if they can beat the Pirates there. Have not beat the Pirates so far this year. I think they've lost now 5 straight to the Pirates. So in other words, see if Matt Harvey can get the victory. But truth be told, it doesn't even matter because the Washington Nationals are in a free fall. Washington Nationals, when they come back from this road trip, God forbid the Mets were hot. Nationals could have been 10 out already. But the Nationals have a lot of holes. It's the only team that really can make a run against the Mets right now. But the Mets are up 4.5 games in the division. They're up 4.5 games. Who would ever figure the Mets being 4.5 games up, leading the East on August 16th? That is mind-blowing. It's like, blow your mind. It's not a mistake. You're not living a dream if you're a Met fan, it's true. And you're not living a nightmare if you're not a Met fan, it's true. So again, the Mets are in good shape due to the fact that the Washington Nationals are playing a really tough West Coast swing, and they're getting their ass kicked. They're not getting pitching, and then they don't hit enough really to do anything. I mean, their main hitters, if you look at their lineup, they're hitting 220, 230, 240, just not going to get it done. So is well in the world right now with the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. Both of them in first place in the middle of August, and New York is just humming with baseball today, humming with baseball. So we have the lone preseason game on the card today. You have an entire slate of baseball. You have obviously the Sunday night ESPN baseball game tonight. So we have a lot of action ready to roll. The radio show that's starting October 3rd. I'm going to have the Soul Show on Saturday, which will be 12 to 1. And then the following week, we go every Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 1, a live show. If you download the iHeart Radio app, you can listen to my show live right on your computer or right on your telephone. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You get the iHeart app, and you'll be listening to the show. And we're just loading up guests for the show. We have an outside shot of the world champion, Chris Weidman, coming on the show. How great would that be? The world champ, UFC champ, Chris Weidman. My buddy knows him, and we're looking to get him on. If we don't get him in the studio, we will have him via a phone call, which is amazing. How about that, the world champ? And I'm going to try to get the world champ also there, Floyd Mayweather. So I have some buddies reaching out to Floyd. Floyd's not obviously flying to New York to meet with the source just to do a radio show, but I think I can get him for 5 minutes over the phone. So those are the 2 main things I'm trying to get right now. Floyd Mayweather's about 10%. Chris Weidman's like 80%. So, but in other words, we're reaching out to Floyd, seeing if Floyd can give us his picks, who he's going to be betting that day, and give us a couple of sound bites, because, he's always a good phone call. So the radio show, again, you could see it no matter where you are. Just download the iHeartRadio app, and then we rock and roll. So in other words, I'm going to be going nationwide so the world can listen to me, not only the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. And again, we're going to be going through Jets and Giants. I have stock-loaded tickets, so I'll be giving away free Jet tickets, free Giant tickets every single show, free Rutgers college football tickets every single show, so the people that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area can take advantage of this. And we're going to also have call-ins where people are going to be calling in, leaving who they like, speaking to me live. So I'll be saying like, Next 6 calls, I want to know who you're betting. I want to know how much you're betting. I want to know who you're betting, and I want to see if you can beat the source. So we're going to run a contest to see that if you're better than me or better than the contestants I have on the show, because I'm going to have other handicappers that are going to be working for me on the show and being the same business as me, paying to be on the show. So we'll have some sponsors. So we'll have a lot of fun, because a lot of people, you know yourselves, when you bet a game, you want to scream and yell about it. You want to tell the world who you're betting. Well, you'll be able to tell anywhere between 40 to 100,000 listeners on Saturday and Sunday who you got if you can get in. And I think you'll be able to get in. We have a good board guy that'll take all the calls, write them down, and then we'll rock and roll. So on this Sunday, let's relax, spend it with family. Week 1 of the preseason ends today, and then we start week 2 next week, which will get a little more serious. Baseball, you have a lot of baseball to go. Dog days of August, and then into September, and then we have 2 weeks left in August. Will the Yankees and Mets still be in first place rolling into September, which will be unbelievable, which will be a dream come true, because in New York, this is a baseball town. New York is a baseball town. We love our football, we love our basketball, we love our hockey, but we are a baseball town. So with the Mets being in first place and the Yankees being in first place, it's just mind-blowing. Absolutely insanity. If you walk down the streets in Long Island, in New York City, everybody is wearing either New York Mets or New York Yankees gear. It's pretty cool. It really is a buzz. And you haven't seen it in well over a decade. You haven't seen it in well over a decade. And I don't know if everybody remembers, but 15 years ago when the Mets played the Yankees in the Subway Series, it was indescribable, the energy in the house. The energy in the house was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, obviously that's when the Yankees were at their peak, where they won their 3rd straight championship against the Mets, and the Mets were just, up and coming, but they made the run and they got there. And they played the Yankees tough. I mean, they lose in 5. They only won 1 game. Rick Reed was their only winner. But they played the Yankees tough every single game. Mets lost in 5. Mets could have won every one of those games. Every one of those games. As we know, Al Leiter, 146 pitches in Game 5. Luis Sojo with the seeing eye single. Done. See you so long. Bye-bye. Yankees win their 3rd in a row in 2000. But this year we have buzz. Now, outside shot, Yankees and Mets will play each other. They're not the favorites. They're not second choices. They're not even third choices. But in baseball, anything can happen. And as you see, if Beltran stays on fire, Tanaka becomes an ace, Nova does his job, and the Yankees get some pitching where they really haven't. Can CeCe have a rebirth? He's pitched a lot better than he has in about 3 years. His last 3 starts have been epic. And Eovaldi has been holding his own. He doesn't go deep into games. Or, every inning, every game he's pitched in the 5th inning, he's already at 110 pitches. But the guy throws 100 miles an hour, and he's going to be very, very serviceable. So we'll see what the Yankees do. The Mets have the epic pitches. We know that. And now with David Wright coming back in the next couple of weeks, their offense will be much better. Their bench will be much better. Their depth will be better. And, they have the relievers. Parnell has not been on his game. Tyler Clippard is a big, big addition. But they have Familia to close the games out. And they really are very, very serviceable also. Their bullpen even may be better than serviceable, even with losing Mejia for the whole year, being suspended for the drugs back-to-back, 80 games and now 160 games. So baseball's really flowing right now. I don't know if you like baseball, don't know if you bet baseball. In New York right now, baseball's number 1. It's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. It's that fucking Jones and out. It really is. It's amazing. Jets and Giants are in their camps. Jets and Giants have not shown nothing in preseason football. Well, maybe less than nothing. And the Giants just constantly, the whole secondary is just being wiped out by injuries. It's absolutely being decimated by injuries. That's a major problem. That is a major problem. Because they've already lost JPP. We don't know what's going to happen with him. We don't know. And if they can't put pressure on the quarterback, and if their defense, their secondary is weak, then what's the difference? Eli's going to have to score 40 points a game, which he could with those 2 receivers and their offensive line being revamped and the running game. They could score 40 points. They really could, because you cannot guard their receivers. You can't guard their receivers, and then they'll just dump the ball off to the running backs and tight ends all day. If you double them, it's going they're going to score a lot of points. Problem is now they're going to let up a lot of points. The Jets right now, we don't know where they sit. We don't know who's quarterbacking, and they have a lot of injuries on their side of the ball too. But they have an amazing defense. They have the best player in the NFL, Darrelle Revis, on defense. They have Antonio Cromartie. So you're not going to be able to throw the ball easily on the Jets. And once they are back healthy, with Richardson back, Their defensive line is just as good as anybody in the NFL. They're going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on. You're not going to be able to run the ball. You're not going to be able to throw the ball. You're not going to score no points. Problem is, can the Jets score anything at all? Can the Jets come to play? That's the problem. Jets' offensive line is not great, better than last year, but I would say it's just marginally better than average. Their running backs are average. Their receivers, we'll see if Brandon Marshall makes a difference, but let's put them a touch above average. Nobody at the quarterback. We don't know if Fitzpatrick's going to be the answer. We really don't. We know in the past he hasn't. He's only been serviceable. He's never really been the guy, and he does get hurt a lot. He does get hurt. So Jets defense is going to be phenomenal. Giants offense is going to be phenomenal. If we could put both of those teams together, we'd run Super Bowls, because Giants offense, Jets defense, my God. But both teams on one side of the ball are going to have a lot of problems. Giants defensively, Jets offensively. So Jets and Giants, we'll see. Rutgers, college football a little bit here now. Rutgers should have a much better year than they had last year. They were very competitive with most of the games, and they had a couple of stinkers where they got blown out. But they had an amazing recruiting class, and obviously forever, their recruiting classes where the New York, New Jersey area is nothing for college football. Pretty flat for college football. So Rutgers has to do a very good job, first of all, to attract players, for players to go there. But now that they're in the Big Ten, and now that anybody that goes to Rutgers is going to be on national TV at least 4 times during the year, and they're going to get some buzz, that Rutgers, the actual program, is really growing. And I know for a fact, because we're down in the trenches with Rutgers, their recruiting class has been amazing, their practices have been amazing, and they're very well coached and very well disciplined. So I think you should see a lot of good things out of Rutgers. If they don't make noise like win the division, win the conference, which obviously they're not going to win the Big Ten, but they should be a very, very formidable team against the point spread. I would say Rutgers will be an absolute money-making team this year if you just bet them blindly every single game. You're going to make money betting Rutgers. There's no two ways about that. I looked at their schedule, and even the games that they cannot win, they're going to be getting a boatload of points. I mean, they're going to be getting double-digit points, already mapped out their whole schedule. They're going to be getting double-digit points in 3 games, and I think that they cover all 3 of those games. So I have their schedule, and what I do is I prorate the line, and I create my own line, and I look at what's going to happen during the year so I can get ahead. So already I've mapped out the whole month of September for college football, and I'm looking into October already. It's a lot of work, but you need to know the lines. What I do to make a line is I power rate every single team. I personally power rate every single team, and then I personally make my own line, and I match my own line against the Vegas line, and then I see if there's differentials there, and I see if I was just blatantly wrong, or if I think there's a weakness in the Vegas line, and I take advantage of it. And obviously I wait for the smart money to come in, and I wait for the sharps to bet it, and I wait to adjust it. But I think Rutgers is going to be a money-making team this year. There's no two ways about it. I think they're going to be a money-making proposition. And like I told you, because WOR 710 AM is the flagship station of Rutgers Big Ten college football, I will absolutely be an expert when it comes to Rutgers Big Ten college football. So we will have the pulse of Rutgers University every single day, every week, and I'll be putting a lot of information out about Rutgers during the year on the show, on this video, and I'll be very valuable to you. So remember, I'm your one-stop shop, obviously, for the Mets and the Yankees, obviously for the Jets and the Giants, and let's put it in gear right now, Rutgers college football. Now, obviously, I have scouts and sources throughout the country that have worked for me. I have 8 offices throughout the country that work for me, so I am up to speed, up to date with every information on every team in the nation. There's no issue about that. Obviously, I've been doing this 35 years. It's the only thing I've ever done in my life. It is a difficult business to be in because we run streaks, obviously. We run hot, we run cold, we run very hot, we run very cold, and then we run middle of the road. It's the same as betting the stock market, except this is a much bigger investment, much better investment, because in 3 hours, you could get your money come in. And in other words, do you really know who works for GE? Do you really know what goes on in that stock, whether it's going to go up or down? You don't. I do know. I know what's going to happen in a football game. Not every football game, not every situation, but I really win more than I lose. I've won more than I've lost for 35 years. It's why I have thousands of customers that have already paid me for the 2015 season. Whether you're betting $50 a game or you're betting $1 million a game, I treat you with the same integrity and the same respect. Because in this day and age of social networking and transparency, you just never know who you're going to speak to. Like last year, kid called me from Florida University. He's a $100 bettor. He was stuck $700 and didn't have $1 to pay. Okay, so I told him, hey, you shouldn't be gambling if you have no money. But I worked with him, and over 3 weeks, I made the kid about $900. And he was so grateful to me that he told me that he's going to turn me on to one of his buddies' father. P.S. he did. Buddy's father paid the company $100,000. Buddy's father's a CEO of a filtration company in Florida, water filtration, and they just kill. Guy's rich as heck, and I get him off a $100 bettor. So you just never know. So if I do an excellent job for you, you're going to say something to someone who will say something to someone who will say something to someone, and I'm going to get that big monster player on your desk. So I treat the $50 player with the same integrity and the same respect that I treat the $1 million player, because in this day and age of social networking and transparency, you just never know where the relationship's going to go. So, all right, that's it for me today. Those are my random thoughts for this beautiful Sunday. I want you to enjoy the day with the family. Enjoy the day with your loved ones. Rock and roll. Let's make some money gambling. If anybody is going to go to the shore, go to Atlantic City. Good luck. Go to Foxwoods. Good luck today. If you're in Vegas, let's fucking pound it out on the tables. Good luck. When I play, I always go immediately to the roulette wheel, and I play 200 on 5 numbers. I play 31, 24, 13, 10, 3. So I open up with, I make 10 rolls of $1,000. So I play 200 a number, 5 numbers, 10 rolls. So that's normally how I open the day. And then, God willing, I hit some numbers, make some money, and we go right to the dice table, and I find a hot shooter. Because when I roll, I'm never hot. When I roll the dice, it never works out. I'm never hot. But what I do know is that if I find a hot shooter and you can press, you can make money. So that's the bottom line. So if you haven't made money in rolling craps, then really what you got to do, rolling dice, find the hot shooter. Don't be the hot shooter, because most of the time you're never going to shoot well. You need somebody who knows how to roll dice, and there's a lot of people that do. And there's a lot of people that do that bet $1, $2, $5 when I'm betting $2,000 on the pass line and backing it up with $10,000 behind. So in other words, find the hot shooter, and that's how you make money rolling dice. Always has. And you play roulette, and you play dice, and obviously it's a lot of fun. You know, gambling is always a lot of fun. It's what we do here. It's what we provide. We're entertainment, and nobody's more entertaining than me, your source, Stu Feiner.